Graham Banks, would you be kind enough to give us your name and tell us who you are and what you do?
Of course, yeah. So my name's Graham Banks. I'm the Travel Demand Manager at Transport for Greater Manchester. I've been in this position now since October last year. Previous to this role, I was actually more in operations. I was a highways manager at Transport for Greater Manchester. And if anyone knows Manchester, you know the congestion issues that we used to have, but there's no one on the roads at the moment. But it used to be quite an event, so I was in charge of minimising that disruption as best as possible, which kind of led me into this role, and also really that former position led me into managing all the traffic signs, which have become quite infamous, especially over the last couple of years. And that's how I'm in this position now, really, and how we're still using today to have a bit of fun, but also try and manage the demand on the network, shall we say.
Okay, that's great. I mean, we'll get onto that very shortly. Your famous signage. Firstly, though, I mean, the theme of Creative North is collaboration. How would you define collaboration?
To me, and I've been doing some thinking about this, when we first started this new idea of using these traffic signs in a different way that was always been used, there was no collaboration. It was me and a very small amount of people doing our own thing with a new content channel, without any governance, without any rules around it. It was literally just myself, pretty much, just thinking, what do we want to get out there today, and going with it. And collaborate with anyone on it. In fact, I did get asked once, I remember this earlier today, it started to pick up a bit of momentum, the kind of stuff we were doing. And I got asked by a colleague, we'd really like to know what you got in the pipeline. Could you write stuff down and let us know? But the reason why he wanted that information is to find out what we were going to be getting up to. And I said, yeah, but I never actually sent him anything because it wouldn't work. So at the start, there was no collaboration. I think if there was, it wouldn't have prospered the way it did, because it wouldn't have been allowed to grow organically. It just wouldn't have taken off. However, as time went on and as momentum built with the kind of content we were doing, a natural kind of collaboration came. And it was really when I first started this role, where I started talking to the social media team, the marketing team, because in a way the traffic signs only got you so far. The reach was only so far in terms of it really was only impacting motorists, but we wanted to reach people all over the Great Manchester, whether you're on a bus, a tram, a train, or cycling, walking, whatever it is you're doing. And it wasn't a case of me saying, we need to go to market and we need to get stuff. It suddenly just seemed to happen. It just naturally fell into place. I'm very lucky in a way that I can't even remember the first discussions with. I work closely in marketing for a lady called Shelley and Anna in the social team. And it just seems like we've known each other all our lives, but we've only actually worked together probably about 9 months. And they've helped propel this vision I had maybe 2 years ago into a completely different scheme now. It's not even the traffic signs anymore. It's changed the way we reach our customers, and it's also changed how we talk to our customers. I think there used to be a set way, a very kind of corporate image way. You've got to remember that transport isn't exactly the sexiest of topics. It's not really, to grab someone's attention with some kind of news about traffic. It's a challenge, believe me. You have to really think outside the box. But they've really taken on board the kind of early work that I did, and then taken it to a whole new level in terms of the social media content, the marketing in terms of the design, and how they're getting that information out there. So it started off, the collaboration bit for me started off very, like I said, there wasn't any. It was just me doing stuff. And then suddenly it's now this whole big piece.
I was going to say,
great.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, for those who might not know, the backstory to this is you want to just give us a brief backstory of the first message you sent and the impact of that?
So the first message, sorry?
Yeah, the first, how it originated, the first one you sent, and the sort of impact it had.
Yeah. Okay, so the first one we did was actually about 2 years ago. I think it was June. It was when England got knocked out of the World Cup, so 2018. Came to work. The usual messages were on the signs. Most people don't even know the signs existed because it was the same old nondescript messaging that didn't draw attention, didn't engage anyone. Don't drink and drive, don't speed, all them don'ts. And it was like, right, I'm sick of this now. And to be fair, I was feeling a bit hungover, should we say, and a bit bored with the whole thing. So I changed it and I said, I did put a positive spin on it, but I did say something like, don't worry, not long until the Euros. Until then, drive safe, or something like that. It was quite like just a cheer up England message. I know we got knocked out of the World Cup, but let's move on. And we did it straight away in the morning, so it got that morning commuters. And then suddenly that was the first one 2 years ago, and suddenly we started getting a couple of tweets. It might have been 2 tweets saying, oh, I've seen a funny sign this morning on one of the roads. And no one at TFGM had a clue what we'd just done. And we just kind of kept it ourselves. And then maybe a week later, we did something else. And then, because obviously the summer season's the big event season, we then thought, what could we do on event days to try and I've got to say, at the start, it wasn't the reason we did it wasn't any other reason than just to have a bit of a laugh. There was no meaning behind it. It wasn't to try and influence travel demand. It was literally, let's just see if we can have a bit of fun. And it just built and built and built. And then it got to the point where it like grew so organically, especially when people started taking pictures and sending them into our team. I was like, we can really use this for a difference now. It's grown to such a level that we can tell people exactly what we want them to do. And we don't expect everyone to do it. But if we can get 5%, 10% of them people to do something different, it makes our job easy in terms of managing the network, trams, buses, trains, getting people out of the cars, all that kind of stuff. So it grew from a joke kind of thing to something completely different, but still retaining that original idea of having a bit of fun, because otherwise it wouldn't work. I fight tooth and nail every week with people at work about some of the message that they want me to put on, and eventually they're getting it. They're getting that. The don't speed, don't drink and drive, don't do this, don't do that. It does not work. You need to engage people. It needs to be attractive. It needs to be constant. It needs to be timely. It needs to be, and it needs to be something that someone can go to their work. Oh, did you see that sign on the way into work today? That was good, wasn't it? I didn't know the Spice Girls were playing tonight. Right, brilliant. And that's where it started from 2 years ago. Yeah. And then little did I know they were going to cancel the Euros and move it to next year. Maybe I should have had some foresight. I don't know.
So you've had, Spice Girls have been in town, and you've mentioned them in your traffic messages. And James Blunt is an infamous one where it's trolled, a bit of a harsh term, but had a josh with him. He tweeted back, didn't he?
Who was that? Sorry,
is it James Blunt?
Oh yeah, that was this year. I think it was this year. Yeah, James Blunt. So there's so most of the signs that we did or do are very much off the cuff. Because I'm working within the events team, I know exactly what's coming up, and I know I've got some ideas. But I knew James Blunt is brilliant on social media. He's very engaging. He chats to his fans, but more importantly, he takes the mick out himself quite often. So I thought, right, this is a great opportunity to just have a bit of a, and I knew he'd come back with it. So we had a good sign saying, going to see James Blunt, why, ? And then only joking James. And then we pushed a little link out to trams because it's the best way to get into the gig. And again, he commented on it. We got people talking. And then looking at the data from the night from the actual concert, people tended to stay away from the Victoria Station next to the arena during that time when it's going to be ingress for the gig. It might only be 2 or 3% of people, but believe me, on the tram that makes a big difference. So it's little things like that. You get a bonus out of the interaction, which is great. But then if you get a result at the end of it, in terms of the network and the demand on it, Win-win. Happy days.
I was going to say, I mean, that's fantastic work. I mean, as a copywriter, we want to, you want your work read, you want it to be appreciated, and you want it to have impact as well. And it sounds like you're achieving all that, and you're getting great numbers off the back of your messaging as well. People are paying attention, they're liking what they see, and they're actually acting upon the advice you're giving them.
Yeah. So, and this is where the collaboration came in for me, really, and it was highlighted early on. It was actually in January this year, where we had Man United were playing Man City. Obviously, the derby, big game. It was a midweek game, and that's when our general biggest issues are in terms of traffic and also. And there was loads of other works going on at the time, and it was a really, really big push from ourselves, from my team, the market and social team, to really put our arms around this whole message and try and get as much attention to this evening as possible. We had market did some great designs. We did because VAR was a big topic at the time in football. We had design makeup, some VAR style messages. It was a three-pronged approach. It was decision pending. What was it? Decision pending, VAR results are in or something. I can't remember what it was. Traffic tonight, boom, boom, boom. It was just like a little scrolling text. We had the same thing on the VMS signs, on the highway signs, and social did the same thing. It was all collaborative. It was a constant message. It wasn't marketing doing their own thing, me doing my own thing in social. It was all together. It was the right wording, the right approach, and we also worked with the clubs. They pushed our stuff out. And on the night itself, which is the first time we've ever been able to do it, 18, which is massive, 18% of regular travellers changed their journey on that evening. So they either left work early or whatever they were doing, driving around. We told them to leave before 4:30. 18% did exactly that. And the actual evening, there was no issues at all. There was, a little bit of traffic here and there, but it wasn't like anything like a normal Wednesday evening where you think, Jesus, that was a bad night. And I can only say it wasn't one thing. It wasn't my signs. It wasn't social media. It wasn't just marketing and design, pushing out messages on Instagram and Facebook and targeting areas. It was just the whole approach had that. It was a lot of work for one, for one 90-minute football game, but it got attention, and B, it had a positive result. So it was a good evening. It progressed from there, and it's just such a shame that COVID started off for obvious reasons. But we were starting to make really good progress with some really cool ideas. So hopefully, when it's all over, we can go back to that. Definitely.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, humorous, and generating tangible results. I mean, win-win-win,
yeah.
Isn't it fantastic? What guidance, what advice would you have given people at the Royal Exchange Theatre at Creative North? Is there anything you'd have left them? Any kind of tips or tricks or strategies in their writing or their work as creatives or copywriters that you can advise anyone on from your experience?
I think the advice I give is if you're going to be doing something, you've got to feel the emotion of what's going on at the time. You've got to have a good feeling for what's going on in the city or wherever you are, really, whether it's happy, whether it's sad. And you've got to capture that emotion, really try and get it down, and it's got to be quick. You can't wait around for someone else to do it. It's got to be in people's memory. So if Prince Harry's having a bit of a problem with the royal family, and City are playing Crystal Palace that weekend, you've got to pounce on it and have there's something. And you know that people won't really take it too seriously. Has that gone off, or is it still going?
Lost you for the last 90 seconds. Can we?
Did it go? Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you that question again, shall I? And we can sort of edit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like what you suggested about Manchester being an emotional city. I thought it was a really nice point.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You were saying anyway. You may have said it.
Okay.
Well, it went down, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um,
Graham, imagine a room full of people at the Creative North conference of the Royal Exchange. It's an actionable conference, and we'd like people to go away, thinking about their writing and their lives. What advice might you give to our attendees on how to be better creatives, better writers from your experience?
From my experience, first of all, you've got to have a good feeling for what you're trying to do in what place. I've got a good feeling for what Manchester's going through, whether it's happy, whether it's sad. Obviously, it's quite an emotional city, Manchester, so you've got to kind of hone in their emotions. And that could be, I'm sick of this traffic, and you just kind of make a light. We're not too sensitive in Manchester. You can take a joke and you can have a bit of a cheekiness, and people will understand it. We're not, no one's scared of having a bit of cheekiness and a bit of fun. But it's got to be timely. It's got to be at the right time. If you wait too long, you've lost it. It's really got to be relevant to that specific time. So you've really got to be brave in your wording and your creative, I guess, because if you wait around or ask permission, you've kind of lost it. And going back 2 years, if I'd have asked permission, I've never been able to do all this, but it's quicker to ask for forgiveness sometimes. So I prefer to go down that route. But certainly if you can make it relevant to whatever's going on. A good example recently was the Prince Harry and the royal family and all that kind of thing. And I wasn't really paying much attention to it, to be honest. But then I noticed that Man City were playing Crystal Palace the weekend. Manchester City, at least one Palace has it house in order. It was just so quick and easy. Now, if I waited around a week or 2 days, he'd have gone, we'd lost it. We did it so relevant. Brewdog, we were speaking about before, Brewdog doing something similar this week with what's going on in politics and the Dominic Cummings and all that kind of stuff. Quick off the mark. You've just got to go for it. You can't wait around, because if you do, someone else will have your idea off you.
So credit to the organisation really for supporting you, for backing your inspiration, your inclinations to get those messages out there. I guess that must have been quite scary to start with. You must have been a little bit worried that it wasn't on brand, or
yeah, definitely. I can imagine the benefits of doing so. They've obviously seen the benefits recently with some of the data that we've been getting out. But also, it's not, and this is not me being big-headed or anything, but I think 99.9% of the time we've got it about right. There's nothing being that controversial. It's a bit light-hearted fun at the end of the day with an important message behind it. There's no, I would never put something on there that's too risky. I mean, there has been a couple of ones where I've gone, oh, that might get a bit of a, but we've had some, it's not all been positive stuff coming through. We've had some negative, in some ways the negative stuff's actually, it's better than the positive, because people still notice it and people are commenting and engaging on it. And it's got to the point now where I might put a message on one sign and take a picture of it and give it to the social team, and they go away and do their thing with it then. It's got to the point where you don't even need to reach motorists. You can just reach people via social media. It's changed everything in terms of, and during the COVID crisis, the most popular social things we've done randomly has been a picture of one of the signs, and you just can't get your head around it that someone's taking a picture of a sign for traffic is now, it's kind of like a thing of Manchester, which is great. It's become like a little bit of a Manchester thing now. People, I'm not saying people see Manchester and see a picture of a traffic sign, but it has been talked about, around the country that they're doing things a bit differently, and which is great, And yeah, it's fair play to the big bosses for not shutting me down, which I'm sure they wanted to.
Yeah, so there's a lesson in taking a chance there, isn't there? In trusting your humour.
Yeah.
And because at the end of the day, yeah, you are being read where people weren't reading traffic signs before necessarily, and more importantly, they're acting on the information.
Yeah, definitely. I think you've got to take a little bit of a risk at the end of the day. And I keep telling this to my team who do the customer content for our social media channels and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it's travel advice. We're we're not saving lives, or we're not doing anything. You're not going to kill anyone with travel advice. You're just trying to help people. And if you can do that in an engaging way and really, really connect to them, I think you've done a great job. You know, there's nothing wrong. You don't have to be corporate. You don't have to do all, because it doesn't. To me, it doesn't work. People don't. I think before TFGM didn't really have a voice. It was just a transport organisation. People didn't even know what we did. And this is not because of me, but because of the last couple of years, there's been such an improvement with the marketing, the designs. Everything just seems to be going down a really colourful, positive path, which is great to be a part of, really. Because otherwise, I don't think I'd be interested in it. I think it needs to be something a bit different, and it certainly has been recently. And it's cool to be a part, definitely.
That's great. So I will say thank you so much, Graham, for your time and your generosity. Looking forward to
no problem at all.
Looking forward to reading your signs out and about in the city. It always bring a smile to the face.
Oh, good. I mean, that's what we want. And then hopefully they'll jump on your bike instead of driving.